Welcome to the AFC North Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things AFC North from the best creators in the division, including Baltimore Ravens creator Sam, Pittsburgh Steelers creator Mark, Cleveland Browns creator Chef Zay, and Cincinnati Bengals creator Zim. Catch the AFC North Roundtable every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the AFC North Roundtable YouTube channel. What is up, AFC North football fans, and welcome into another edition of the AFC North Roundtable. Week 11 is in the books, and it was an AFC North jam-packed Week 11 with two showdowns within the division. One game closer than maybe people would have thought. Another game not close. Maybe people thought it was going to be. It wasn't. We'll break it all down here on the AFC North Roundtable. Talk about the matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers this past weekend, and of course, the Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. On the back half of the episode, we will take a look at Week 12, giving you our previews and predictions of the upcoming week. But for now, let's bring in the fellas. Zay, Mark, Sam, and Zim. Good Wi-Fi. Who did you upgrade the router, Zim?
Always. You got to make sure that you keep the Wi-Fi going when it's time to talk ball.
Good. I'm glad that you upgraded the Wi-Fi, and I'm guessing you might have had to get the Wi-Fi in check because you have a lot to talk about perhaps coming forward here with your star QB back as a full participant in practice. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Joe Burrow perhaps making a comeback, maybe trying to get the Cincinnati Bengals to bounce back, and they're going to need a bounce back after what we saw on Sunday afternoon, taking on Mark's Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that we have known to score points in bunches, were unable to put much of anything on the scoreboard in this football game. The Pittsburgh Steelers win at home 34-12. Joe Flacco on 40 passing attempts, less than 200 total yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Mason Rudolph comes in, Aaron Rodgers a no-show, and somehow was able to lead this team to a 34-point performance. And this defense for Pittsburgh that has had many questions, as we note on here all the time, the highest paid defense in the league, and they've received plenty of criticism for maybe not living up to that billing. They've been looking pretty good the last several weeks. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers 6-4 as they make their push towards the playoffs here in January. Zay, I'll start with you here. Bengals 3-7 now after getting routed by Pittsburgh. Were you expecting this type of beatdown on Sunday?
I think the score is a little bit, different. I think it was a little bit closer than what the score indicated. This is almost the same kind of story as it was last week for them versus the Chargers. The only difference is they capitalized on those opportunities. It was a close AFC North battle, just like we figured it would be, but the Steelers took advantage of the opportunities that presented themselves. Kenneth Gainwell, this man, I don't know who the hell he decided to turn into, but he was unstoppable. Jaylen Warren found a way to get the run game going. And the defense did handle their business, like they should have, being the highest paid defense in the league. So it was one of those games where you expected it to be close, but unfortunately, the Steelers did not mishap on any of the opportunities presented themselves. So, it's looking like the division is going to be a little bit harder for the Ravens to catch up with, but, it is what it is at this point. Hopefully, I'm anxious to see what Mark's going to say about Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers, because I was looking at Mason Rudolph, and it looked like he was flowing the offense pretty well, and he looked pretty comfortable back there doing it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that stuff moves forward. And obviously, I was expecting a little bit more I was expecting the Bengals to maybe put an end to this whole Steelers thing. So they still have another opportunity to do that in a couple weeks. But overall, it is what it is.
It is what it is. What it is a W. Pittsburgh trying to continue to pave their path towards a division title here. We'll talk about Sam's Ravens in a bit. They keep stacking wins, and they have the Jets this upcoming week, so it's likely they continue to stack those wins. But I'll go to Mark. Or no, wait, who am I going here? Sam. So many games within the division here. I'm used to running it around the table. Well, we got to start with the two people not involved in this game. Sam, I'll go to you here. You're watching this football game. Obviously, Pittsburgh is the team to beat for you if you want to wind up winning a divisional title this year for your Baltimore Ravens. Were you shocked at the Steelers' ability to win the game the way that they did with Mason Rudolph at the helm?
I predicted the Steelers to win this game. Did I expect them to win by 20 plus points? No. I got on the show a couple of weeks ago and I said that, Joe Flacco, Hall of Famer, comparable to what Joe Burrow is doing. I want to, apologize to Bengals fans. That's not the case. That's asinine after what we saw here. So Joe Burrow potentially coming back will be a huge boost to this team. Maybe not for this year, but, having, number 9 out there it makes a difference. And you saw what that difference was in this contest. Now, the Steelers, on the other hand, got to give them credit. Got to give them credit. They look decent on defense here. They look decent on defense, and they look good with Mason Rudolph. I'm nervous as a Steelers fan, as a Ravens fan, to have to deal with Mason Rudolph, because I was expecting old man Rodgers to come in and do not much of anything, similar to what we've seen with other QBs in the pocket in the past. So, we'll see what happens with Mason Rudolph. We've seen this before where a backup QB comes in and does better than the old veteran. I would hate to see that. But overall, I think good victory for the Steelers. Am I nervous about the Steelers in any way outside of the chance that Mason Rudolph is the second coming? No, I still think it's the Ravens' defense to take, but I think that overall the Steelers deserve some praise for getting the job done against the Bengals.
I'm sure Mark's got some praise for his Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll start with the victor here. Mark, another W for your Steelers in division. We know how tough this division is. You'll take them however you can, but you'll always take a 34-12 type victory here, especially with your starting quarterback out. What'd you make of what you saw from Pittsburgh here in last Sunday's matchup?
It's pretty much just it's a bounce back game. The Steelers had to win this one. Otherwise, they go 5-5. And then, Sam's smile will be up near his ears because the Ravens are almost in control. But it's going to come down to, I think, Steelers and Ravens anyway, the next 2 games. We don't play each other for another few weeks. But it was a good game. It was Aaron Rodgers and the offense was starting off a bit slow. It was, the first 7 points from us going down the field. Joe Flacco and company, they went down the field. That was crazy. And then kind of like a bit of a middle point of punting here and there. Rodgers got injured. But if I can put the game in any way, Darnell Washington fucked the Bengals. I'm sorry. He ran over the Bengals. He's 6'7". He's 300 pounds. They had no idea where they wanted to tackle him at all. He's a big unit, and Rodgers and both Rudolph definitely used him. They're using him more now too. 4 catches, 6-7 yards. Him running over, I think it was Geno Stone, one of the linebackers, and the other guy. He finished his run. He won the angry runs like that. Kyle Brent does his show. So that showed me that the Bengals obviously didn't want it as much as the Steelers. And then Joe Flacco threw an interception. That really broke the game open too. That was 20-12 at that time. And then the Steelers got another touchdown with Rudolph. Rudolph can play too, by the way. Rudolph can ball out. He's a pretty good backup quarterback. The whole thing about what Zay said with Rodgers and Mason Rudolph, we don't know. He's hurt his left wrist. We're not too sure what's going to happen if he's going to play with one arm behind his back. Mike Tomlin said he doesn't want to get him hurt, or basically you don't want to put him in a situation to hurt it even more. I'm okay if he takes off the week and, you play Rudolph. However, he wants to verse the Bears. But this was a bounce-back game. The Steelers had to win this. If they don't win this, Yin's explosion, like the city of Pittsburgh, would start to melt down because then we're dropping 4 in the last 5 or wherever it is. So we had to beat the rival. We had to go 1-on-1, and we had to bounce back to a 34-12. It was a great day. And also James Pierre, too. One big shout out to James Pierre. Took care of business. Undrafted guy. Jamar Chase. I know he's in big trouble right now, and rightfully so. I don't condone any type of spitting on anyone. I think it's a gutful act. I think it's crazy. One of our players, Trey Turner, did it for the Steelers years back. I don't respect that at all. So I think he got his penalty, which is very well deserved for the 1 game. Maybe even 2 because he lied about it. That's pretty fucking weak too. But James Pierre took care of business, and he only held him to like 30 yards. So the Steelers in these bounce back games, this gives me hope they can go further, but can they back it up in week to week?
Darnell Washington needs a drug test. I just wanted to throw in Darnell Washington needs to be drug tested. That is not a human being.
He's
insane.
311 pounds moving like that is that's not real.
The modern day athlete, man, continue, and it never ceases to blow my mind the way some of these guys are able to move. Zim, 7 losses in their last 8 outings for the Cincinnati Bengals here. And we're looking at the last time they won, and it was against these Pittsburgh Steelers. In that moment, it was the first game in prime time for Joe Flacco. At that time, it felt like, man, look out. Joe Burrow could be coming back. Joe Flacco's looking good. They're putting up points. And since then, it just hasn't matured into what we thought it could be. So talk to me about what you saw on Sunday. And then if you could, talk to me about what the plan is moving forward here, because we look at Cincy off of this loss here, now falling, of course, to 3-7. But today we get word that Joe Burrow, full participant in practice. So what did you make of Sunday, and what's the plan here moving forward for the Bengals?
Sunday, it was to me, that was very different than what I had seen throughout the season that give any Bengal fan any hope. You would say, hey, we're scoring 30, 40 points if the Bengals get a couple stops. You know what I mean? Generally, like, you're thinking you have a chance. I just thought the offense just was not in rhythm for most of the day. The one thing that was disheartening about the Flacco drive is I was in my mind as it was going through. I mean, I think the score was 13-9. We're down 4. This is fourth. I mean, I'm sorry. It's fourth quarter, 13-9. And so he gets the pick 6, or I'm sorry, is that the end of the third? Anyway, end of the third. So then he gets the pick 6. And then even still, when you get to the fourth quarter, it's 20-12. I just misspoke about the score, but it was 20-12. So in my mind, I'm like, you still got a chance. But then, Fant gets the fumble and, whatever. So the one thing that I will say in this game is that I thought the Steelers were the far more physical team, as he just outlined Darnell Washington. The Bengals defense is awful, though. Like, for us to even be like, to hold an opponent to like 10, 12, 13, whatever points it was by third, fourth quarter, I ain't seen that all year. That was the first time that happened all year. The Bengals are averaging on defensive points per game. They're allowing 33.6 points per game. Damn. It's the worst in the history of football. So as a Bengal fan, I'm like, man, shoot, we already got a shot. But the offense, to me, I always come back to the offense stuff. Like, to use Z-Bot. Bills scored 44 points this past week. They give up 32 points. Nobody's coming online and saying, bro, I wish they get, they're frauds. They're even. You thinking like, bro, that's scary. I'm not trying to go up against 44 points. Like, that's how I am as a fan. I get defense wins championships, and defense ultimately has to be the most important portion of like a lot of these games. But at the end of the day, whoever scores the most points. And I think that's how we look at a lot of these teams. And I thought that the Bengals offense looks so regular and average. If they look like that all year, I'd have been told you, like, I'm throwing in the towel. I have no hope at all. That was the first time I thought that they looked like regular. Oh, and then moving forward, I'm not a big fan of Burrow coming back. I'm not. I'm not. But he just went a whole week last week. No hiccups, whatever. And now this week, he's practicing full, doing the 11 on 11s. I mean, people had hinted at it. I had a couple people that had told me that they told me in the November, and I've heard that for like 2 months now. And I know the latest would have been the first week in December. We as Bengal fans, we all knew that, but them not giving him wins doesn't really excite me. I just look back at the Jets, the Bears, and this Steelers game, and just be like, bro, if we had one more win, I would talk very differently about Joe Burrow coming back.
But with the 3-7 records, and what's the point really of him coming back? Is this just him wanting to come back? Because I can't really see any other way. I can't really see any other reason. It's got to be him just saying, I want back in, right?
When you're competitive, I think that this is what gives Joe Burrow. This is why Bengals fans really love, or I'm gonna speak for myself. This is why I love Joe Burrow, because it's not the politics, it's not TV, it's not anything. At any point, whether it was him leading a march down the street downtown when the country was like mixed and like divided, and he walked with 50 black dudes like that, like Burrow is different. He does not care about what is football world telling him to do. The competitive fire in him, I really appreciate that. The other part of the conversation is like, bro, like, you gotta, like, what are you really playing for? Like, you gotta sit this one out. Let's be smart. Let's come back, regroup the next year. But you can't tell a dog, like, Burrow used to play defense in high school. You can't tell a dog like Burrow, like, bro, like, you're not mathematically out of it, but it doesn't really look good, he's gonna be like, bro, then I got a shot. And I mean, if you look at last year, he went 5 games straight at the end of the season and ended at 9-8. And if one team would have lost, the conversation was, dog, I don't think nobody want to play them. They're on fire. So, and then you look at the division, I don't really think it's that strong. So I could see that standpoint. I also see the other standpoint that say, like, bro, I don't think the juice is not, juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, there you go.
So you hit the nail on the head. I think I went back to look at the past years, and it's not out of Joe Burrow's nature to go on a tear at the end of the year. You look back, like you said, last season, he peeled off 5-6 in a row. You go back to 2022, he won 8 games in a row at the end of the year. Like, is the schedule favorable for you guys? It doesn't look like it, but I think if you can sneak one out versus the Patriots, and you can sneak one out versus the Baltimore Ravens that first time, you're then talking about Joe Burrow doing what he's been have a history of doing. So I can, from that angle, look outside looking in and knowing the type of caliber that Joe Burrow is, he looking at it like, this is my prime football. This is where I thrive at the most. So
see the other part of it that I think is the most important piece is the division. Mm-hmm. Like, I just don't feel like the division. I think the division winner at most would be 10-7. I think the division winner is going to be 9-8. I really do. I just look at the rest of the schedule and I see 3-4 L's for, you know what I'm saying, Steelers, and I see a couple L's from the Ravens. I think it's a 9-8. Whoever wins it, wins it. I don't see anybody coming out like higher than that. I think that's also part of the conversation too.
Do you think he plays Sunday?
Loki has to if he wants to.
He got to.
He doesn't have to, but I do think he does. Because there's no argument if you're not mathematically out of it. He's not doing all of that other stuff. Like, y'all got to understand, like, when we talk about them contracts and all that other stuff, Cincinnati is very different. He is not caring about no future contracts, the legitimacy of extending. Like, he does not operate like that. Like, I know his folks, like, he does not care about none of that. He is not. I think there are other players that are like that too. Like, I think Max Crosby showed everybody, like, bro, like, just give me a slight raise. Like, let's line it up. Like, there are players that are still left like that. I think a lot of other players have to factor in, what are they going to do? I think Joe Burrow's also smart enough to know, like, bro, I could go make $100 million with Guinness beer. I could go do a whole bunch of other stuff. Even if I was injured, I could still be the face of Aloe. I could still, like, so my contract, like, I'm already set. I already got guaranteed money. I just don't think he thinks like the modern football player. I really don't.
If he does come back, it'll be a lot tougher for him without Jamar Chase suspended for the game, spitting on a Pittsburgh Steeler. That is AFC North football in a nutshell, I guess. This is just craziness, right? So what did you make of that in particular there, Zim? Is this more than just one incident, or do you sense maybe a sense of frustration for Jamar? Because I feel like it would be warranted, not saying that spitting on somebody is warranted, but maybe getting to a point where the frustration level for him or anybody on that Bengals offense probably has hit a boiling point when you're now in the second consecutive year of them pretty much balling out every week, not on Sunday, but for the most part. And yet here you are sitting at 3-7.
Yeah, I think that factors into it. The Jamar Chase has 2 crash out moments, the spitting incident, and then the one he had in the Chiefs week 2 of last year, or whatever, when he was trying to get the contract. I think at that point in the game, I don't know this for sure, but I think that the reality of, bro, we just don't got it today. I think that might have hit, and that in combination, whatever caused them to do that, I can't fathom why anybody would want to spit on somebody. If somebody pisses me off, I'm trying to punch them. I'm not trying to spit on them. So, like, I don't know where you even come up with that concept, but I don't know,
You know what it is? He was born in the 2000s. He was a different generation. Like, he ain't got that old school blood.
That's the equivalent of YNs.
The YNs.
They jumping, they not fighting, and they pulling out a strap, and I guess now they pulling out spit. I don't know. I don't subscribe to that. Like, that to
old
me
as Jalen Carter, I think it fits the mold. It's that YN generation. They different.
Yeah, it's a different mindset, because I think, he's about to find out. I think for the rest of his career, he could break all these records, and maybe not everybody, but all Steelers fans are going to be like, yeah, that's the guy that spit on us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want your legacy to be like that. I mean, that's how we talk about Ben. We talk about him like, I don't talk about his accolades. I talk about him locking women in bathrooms and probably raping people.
Same
So,
thing.
Yeah, same with Ray Lewis.
Same thing they did with him.
Yeah, like they could show me all the highlights. That's just how I remember them. That's how they remember perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like no matter what, that's now a part of your legacy, bro. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild. I never had seen it before. We've seen it twice this season alone. So, Jalen Carter did it. He was suspended immediately after the spit. So he was suspended for that game. Jamar Chase suspended for this game. Bummer, man. I need New England to lose. Jamar Chase not being out there, not good for anybody.
I got Mike Gesicki. I could go 12 personnel. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe if there's a little something there. He wants to get a little get back. I got Noah Fant, Gesicki out there, and T still healthy.
I want to know, why is the utilization on Brown so and maybe I'm just not watching the games as much, but it seems like every time he has a lot of explosive plays, I'm looking at it, it's just like, why aren't they leaning on this guy more?
I don't think he runs in between the tackles that good. P. Ryan had been running really, really good. If you watch him 2 weeks ago, somebody hit him with a hip drop and messed his ankle up, but he ran for 100 yards like 2 weeks ago. Chase Brown is like more the all-purpose back. To me, that's the argument of A-Chain. Like, is he an every down back? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, can he? But where's your tough runner? You know what I'm saying? Like, Steelers came out there with a tough running Jalen Warren. Everybody needs a tough running. Or Ravens, you got Keaton Mitchell. Could he run 20 times a game? I'm sure he could. But you want that bruiser to like set it up first. You know what I mean?
We transitioned from one divisional game in Week 11 to another. The Baltimore Ravens took on the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns had the lead for the majority of this football game. This defense, of course, no joke. Myles Garrett, no joke. They almost single-handedly won this football game. If not for the worst play turned into the best result possible, the Ravens continue to run Mark Andrews in the tush push. Yet somehow on this one, they ran him on an they faked it and then ran it on the outside, and it went for 40 yards. Never seen anything like it. It wound up working. It wound up getting them the W. The Ravens 23, the Cleveland Browns 16. The Ravens now 5-5 with Lamar back. They have been humming. They've been stacking wins, and they are right in the thick of things in terms of the AFC playoff picture as they continue to move forward here. As I mentioned earlier, the Jets this upcoming week, so it continues to look good for Baltimore with Lamar being back. Lamar in this game, though, he's struggled against this Cleveland D. 14-25, a $193, and 2 interceptions. At the end of the day, the Cleveland offense just could not muster anything. Dylan Gabriel, 7-10 for 68 yards before he came out. Shadur Sanders came in and had every opportunity in the world to go and put this game away, win this football game. They just could not get it done. The Cleveland Browns fall to 2-8. Mark, I'll start with you here. Ravens, Browns, what'd you make of this one Sunday?
Yeah, this is to me, the Browns yet again have another chance to win. They have a really great defense. Myles Garrett's getting 4 or 5 sacks. He's leading the league, but they just don't have the complementary kind of football on the other side. Now, to my knowledge, that Dylan Gabriel, he was injured. Is that correct? And then Sanders came in. I think he was injured and then came in. So we see Sanders now. But I kind of see, this is what I said it a few weeks ago, and Zay's been trying to chip me down and try and get me to join him and yada, yada, yada. It was the same old story. But the same old story for the Browns has been happening for years and years and years. They go and get a quarterback. They trade Joe Flacco, which they should never done. And Dylan Gabriel starts. Next minute, they're going to start Sanders. Sanders is getting first-team reps, and then he's going to be the quarterback for this game coming up versus the Raiders. And then what happens is they win a game, or win, lose, or whatever it may be, put themselves into the position of the draft next year in Pittsburgh, and they'll be drafting who the fuck number 1 quarterback is in the NFL again. They'll rush him in. They'll screw him over, and next minute the Browns just cannot develop quarterbacks, and it's just not I guess they don't have maybe patience or whatever it is. Sanders, to me, played really poor. He was 4 for 16. Yeah, he's the backup. He needs time, but I don't think it's all Sanders' fault, to be honest. I think the Browns just don't have a game plan for him in that sense. His throws were off. He was running around crazy. He was getting sacked. I don't know. I don't know if that was never understood the Cleveland Browns season this year. They had Joe Flacco, got rid of him, and then wanted to rely on a Gabriel. Then they've moved on from Gabriel. So does that mean that Gabriel never starts again? I just don't understand. I just do not get what the Browns do with the quarterback position. Like they said, always trying to bring me down and say the Steelers are gonna, fall one day and this and this. But in this game, they had a big chance to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and they were throwing picks, and Lamar Jackson was getting hurried too, and they fall short. And that was a crazy play. That play for Mark Andrews, everyone's watching the tush push, runs around in circles, next minute 40 yards to the house. So Ravens are slowly becoming a competitive team to get to a wild card or the division.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns had every opportunity in the world here. They had the lead going into the fourth quarter, but it just felt like you were waiting for Baltimore to win the football game. When Mark Andrews took the distance, it wasn't even like you were shocked. Maybe you were shocked at the play call, but you certainly weren't shocked at their ability to finally get in the end zone and end it. And you mentioned it, Mark. It's just you're watching this offense. You don't know what to make of it with Cleveland. You went from having too many quarterbacks to right now it feels like you don't even have a quarterback. It's an awfully interesting situation. And this was Shedeur Sanders' first ever reps with the first team in a setting like this. Not just his first time out there in a game, but his first time really getting a semblance of working with the guys around him, and it did not look good. And you wonder what happens moving forward here. He'll get the start this upcoming week, so maybe it'll be a bit better, but it wasn't good on Sunday. Zim, what'd you make of this one, Baltimore and Cleveland?
I was watching this one thinking I knew I want to see what Sam has to say about this too on the strategy on Myles Garrett. Because coming into the game, I didn't think that the Browns would win, but I did say I thought that the interior of the Ravens would be challenged. Myles Garrett, I don't know if he's ever had a game like that against the Ravens, and this dude is on pace to break the NFL sack record. So that in itself versus we talk about trenches. For the longest in this whole entire thing with Burrow or whatever I'm talking about in division with Ravens fans, it was always, well, if we had the weapons y'all had, and I think for the first year ever, I think the Ravens have fringe top 10 weapons, but they have a bottom offensive line. And it looks different, it feels different, and it's harder to operate that way. And can they do it? Sure. I mean, you got one of the best quarterbacks in football, but it is a bigger challenge. And I think teams like the Browns challenged that. And I thought it would look ugly, and they needed the Mark Andrews play right there. Maybe they would have got something else later on. They're going to eventually need Lamar to run. But that I expected the game to look like that, ugly. And yeah, I just think that for the first time ever, I legitimately watched the Ravens offensive line, and I say I don't think that that's a good offensive line at all. And I think that the Browns now with Mason Graham and what's the other dude that's right there, that Malik Collins. So you got all these guys like that. That's not what you. All this NFL stuff is all about matchups, and that's not a good matchup in my opinion for the Ravens. Luckily, the Browns don't have enough offensive firepower to make anything of it. Shedeur, I'm glad that he's finally getting a chance to showcase his talents. I didn't think he looked good. It was his first game. I think that he's like the Bronny James of football, I tweeted. I don't know if that means he's ever going to be good or not, but it is a very interesting story, and it's very interesting to watch it play out. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, because there's so many crazy takes on this dude's going to be he's going to be amazing, perfect timing. And then you got the other side is just bro, this dude is hot garbage. And the contrast in the two arguments, I have to see it play out. I've been waiting for this.
Sam, it was an ugly one, but when you start 1-5, you'll take them ugly, you'll take them clean, you'll take them however you can get them, and you've gotten 4 in a row here. 1-5 turns into 5-5. We're thinking it could be 6-5 this upcoming weekend. So you get it done on Sunday, but what did you make of the game itself? Were you concerned about what you saw, or was it just another classic running into a buzzsaw that is the Cleveland Browns defense, and you're just happy to get out of there with a win?
It's all of that. I'm happy to get out there with a win. I thought it was going to be a blowout because, again, we saw the Browns offensive performance. They're just not good on offense. What I didn't take into consideration, I kind of did, but didn't think it would be that glaring, is how they played Myles Garrett. They put Myles Garrett everywhere. They had him on the interior. They had him on the right side. They had him on the left side. The Ravens couldn't adjust and attack the opposite field for where Myles Garrett is, because Jim Schwartz did a really good job of maneuvering and moving Myles Garrett every which way. Something that I thought I'd see when we played the Raiders with Max Crosby last year, Micah Parsons with the Cowboys last year. Now the teams aren't very good at moving their star pass rusher around, and the Browns were so good at it. The Ravens had almost no answers with that offensive line. And I've been saying it all year that the offensive line has been terrible. I think we got to see it on full display now. there are not a lot of teams out there with a front seven the way the Browns have a front seven. The Ravens don't play a defense like that ever. In fact, the only defense that the Ravens would face again in the postseason or the regular season may be the Packers with Micah Parsons. I don't even think the Packers have a defense like the Browns, and maybe the Broncos if the Ravens were to match up with them in the postseason. But other than that, the defensive front of the Browns isn't really comparable to anyone else in the league. So that's a sense of comfort for Ravens fans. But overall, the offensive line isn't very good. And I think that the Ravens fans are hoping that Emory Jones, the third-round pick out of LSU, will come into his own. John Harbaugh's alluded to the fact that he's getting ready to play. Maybe that doesn't mean being a starter. Maybe that just means being ready in case of an injury. But I think that this offensive line isn't really built for them to win a championship because not only are they having good success protecting Lamar Jackson, who now has an ankle injury to go along with his knee injury and hamstring injury, but also the run game hasn't really had much success, even though the Ravens did have success running the ball against the Browns. And I thought that was something that the Ravens probably would have took advantage of if it weren't for the fact that the Ravens turned the football over with that pick six. The Ravens didn't really have an opportunity to run the football effectively because they had to put points on the board, and they weren't really succeeding on that either. So overall, I think the Ravens, they're going to be they're going to be tested against the Patriots and the Packers and the Bengals. All of these offenses coming out. But I think one thing, the defense is playing much better. Tavius Robinson, when he comes back from that foot injury, is going to help alleviate some of the pressure that's been put on Mike Green and Calvin Noy. But overall, I think the defense is getting a little underrated now. We'll see what he look like in a couple of weeks against the Bengals. I think that'll be a good test. But that offensive line, without Lamar Jackson, who hasn't played very well these last 2 weeks, if they don't get their act together, championship is out the window. But maybe the division title is up for grabs.
Zay, the defense, once again, is just incredible. Myles Garrett's incredible. The offense is just nowhere to be found, but you do get Shadur Sanders in here. We were expecting to see him at some point. We saw him in this one. We'll see him this upcoming weekend. So what did you make of the game itself? It was another one of those games where Cleveland could have won it, but wasn't able to pull it out in the end. But you saw Shadur. What'd you make of him? What'd you make of the game itself here against Baltimore on Sunday?
I'm going to touch on a couple points that you guys had. Z-Bot, you said you were waiting for the Ravens to win. Well, for the first half, when we had the lead, I was more so the opposite, and I was just waiting for them to lose, to find a way to lose, because that seems to be the mantra of what the Cleveland Browns are. Most teams find ways to win. We, on the other hand, like to find ways to lose. So that was my thought process before Shadur got in. And then, Z, you talked about Myles Garrett moving around a lot and doing different things like that. Or was that Sam who said that? Either way,
yes,
the moving around and stuff like that only comes when we have a lead. So that's the key to being able to have Myles Garrett line up in the middle or on the outside or as a linebacker standing up or on all four. Like, once we get a lead, Jim Schwartz opens up this defense to a whole nother level. The problem lies with the offense. And the problem isn't, and I had this on my podcast on Honor the Land with my boy Max, and I told him, I'm like, what, I'm sitting here, and he asked me what was my overall takeaway from it. And I thought about it. I'm like, what's funny? Whether it's Dylan Gabriel, whether it's Shadur, whether it's Flacco, whether it's DTR, whether it's Jacoby, no matter what quarterback, Bailey Zappi, whatever quarterback has been in this system, it's all looked the same. Dirt's in the dirt, or balls in the dirt, not just in the dirt, but way in the dirt. Sideline throws being airmailed that don't even have a chance. Check down throws being overthrown. Sacks easy with 2 sacks. Like, all of these quarterbacks have had the same problem. So I came away with it like, is our quarterbacks bad or is the system bad? Because every quarterback looks the same at this point. I want to mention Roquan Smith. He lives for moments like these. I saw a press conference where some of the players were talking about the energy that they felt the second that Shadur Sanders came in. Zim, that aura. They felt that aura. And he mentioned he went
low key.
He went right to Roquan Smith, and he said Roquan Smith did a hell of a job of keeping us together. And he told us, like, look, this is what we want. We want this rookie to come in here because we're going to welcome him into the NFL. We're going to make his life hard. So this was a very weird situation for Shadur to be put in, but this is more so not about Shadur. This isn't about the defense or the special team. This is all about the offense and why we just can't figure it out. Cedric Tillman, 7 targets, 3 catches. Cedric Tillman, 3 catches, 52 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 7 targets, 3 catches, 21 yards. What the hell are we doing here? David Njoku, a guy who gets up for these AFC North opponent matches every single week. 1 catch for 7 yards. What the hell are we doing? Quinshon Judkins at the beginning of the game had back-to-back rushing yards for positive yards, and they pulled him the second, and he got pissed off after that. It's like, we're not letting these guys get to their full potential. And every time they do something good, they do something to hinder them to pull them back. So this was one of those I'm glad the game is over because now we can really get to the thing that we've been waiting for this entire year, and that's to see what 12 is about to do coming up. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with all these reps, and I'm excited because the world going to be watching, and if we're going to fall on our face, it is expected. But if we prosper, I'm turning into Zim, and you better be
Can I tell you that the world should be rooting for you guys to win some games? Because I do not want to see Myles Garrett, the interior defensive line, and y'all go get a whole nother top 10. So go ahead and win some games and come on down to medium world.
I keep telling people that, Andrew Berry, people have there's a mixed feeling, and it's swayed more so in the negative side now. But I keep trying to tell people that the Browns are mimicking what the Philadelphia Eagles have been doing. I know they're not anything close to them, and it may sound crazy that I'm saying this, but what they're doing, the model that they're trying to follow, Sam said that there's no front seven like us. They mimic that from the Philadelphia Eagles. The reason why they don't go out and draft these receivers, they're mimicking that from the Philadelphia Eagles. All of the things, because Howie Roseman and Andrew Berry are seriously butt buddies. They're best friends. They love each other. And I'm telling you, if they can figure out this offense or just get a sliver of competency on that side of the ball, we are going to be set up to do some very, very good things. So that's all we are missing is the offense, because right now our defense is primed.
Well, we'll get a good look at Shedeur this upcoming weekend, and it's a fair fight, right? 2-8 teams, so it's not like he's going out there and being thrown to the wolves. Tyler Shuck's first start, the rookie for the Saints, his first start this year was against the LA Rams. It's like, come on, what do you really expect him to go out there and do against one of the league's best teams, maybe the best team in the league right now? So you have a 2-8 team going against a 2-8 team. So we'll see what Shedeur Sanders has this upcoming Sunday, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll preview that game in just a second. Before we do, let's give a shout out to my friends over at RotoWire. They got you covered for all of your fantasy needs and your betting needs. One of my favorite tools they have. You go over to betting, NFL, then latest odds, and they have you covered with all of the odds for every single game each and every week. And the best feature, you can compare all the lines across all the major sports books all in one place. That way you get the best bang for your buck. My Buffalo Bills take on the Texans tomorrow night, and you can see right here, if you want the Bills, you can get the best line over at FanDuel. If you want the Texans, the best lines over at ESPN Bet, and you can use this for every game each and every week, and it's just one of the many awesome tools that you get with a RotoWire premium subscription. Link in the description below. Click that, sign up, and use the promo code RTS. Once you do, you will get a 15% off discount on that premium subscription. While you're down there, check out our friends over at Swivel as well. They are your one-stop shop for all of your favorite creators. It's essentially a creator hub. So if you have obviously everybody on here, right, whether it's Sam, Zay, Zim, Mark, you click on their profile, it'll bring you to all of their content all in one spot. I'll give my main man, Dan Mitchell, a shout here. We'll click on his profile, and as you can see, all his YouTube videos, all of his Instagram posts, Twitter posts, all the breaking news and TikTok posts, all in one spot. It's an awesome, awesome website. So make sure to give them a look as well. Also, while you're down there, keep the ball rolling and head on over to Sleeper and build yourself a sleeper slip. I already crafted one up for us. Like I mentioned, my Bills kick off week 12 on Thursday Night Football against the Houston Texans, maybe the best defense in the league, the best passing defense in the league. I have Keon Coleman, by the way, in here with less than 2.5 receptions, but you can scratch that one out because he is going to be scratched off for the second consecutive game. He's not going to play in this one. So maybe take Tyrell Shavers, who all of a sudden seems to be maybe a go-to guy on this Bills offense, a guy who was fighting for his life to earn a position on the roster in the preseason. But I also have James Cook getting in the end zone. Khalil Shakir had a rough day against the Bucs. They took him away, so I think he bounces back in this one. But it'll be a rushing game, I think, for Buffalo. So you can look into those props and all the rest over at Sleeper. Link in the description below. Click that, sign up, and when you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry. No need to deposit. Just sign up. Instantly get a free $20 entry. You can use that on Thursday Night Football, on any of the Week 12 games, NBA, NHL, you name it. Once you have used that free entry, use the promo code on your screen, RTS. That'll get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below. Let's head from Week 11 to Week 12, where all 4 of the AFC North teams are in the 1 p.m. window. And we'll start with a game.
We're at 4.
Where are you at?
We're at 4 in Vegas.
There are 4 in Vegas.
Wow.
Yep.
You know
y'all
what?
got flexed out. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Now we got to get Shador in the prime spot. I don't know why I missed that. You know why I missed it? Every time I have a nice segue like that, it's wrong.
Z, you did me ever since this thing been a show. You know that? Always backhanded compliments, throwing your little shots. Like,
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. I got you. No, he's talking to me. He's talking to me, Zim. But I guess. I guess if the shoe fits, then we both can rock him. Apparently.
You know what you got to do? You got to study Z-Bot when he's not on here. See, just like Dan Mitchell. Shout out to Dan Mitchell. You want to know how diabolical these people really are? Go watch their content. Then you'll really get a good picture of what they really represent.
Yeah, you know me, man. I can't wait to overlook the Browns 4 p.m. game. Right? So I have to. my best diss I could come up with was saying when they were playing in the 1 p.m. slot. But hey, look at no better time, by the way, for Cleveland to be in the 4 p.m. spot. We get to lock in and watch what Shador has. But we'll start in the 1 p.m. window, and we'll talk about a game that we talked about a little bit earlier. Cincinnati taking on New England. We mentioned it. No Jamar Chase in this game. Potentially Joe Burrow in this game. A little more interesting than maybe first met the eye. The New England Patriots, folks, they're 9-2. I cannot get over this. They have a yellow brick road to the 1 seed with the schedule that they currently have, and they're stacking win after win after win. The question is, will they get yet another one on the road against the Bengals? Sam, I'll start with you. Patriots, Bengals, who takes it and why?
If you're a betting person, I think I would sit out this week. I'm seeing landmines all across here. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the New England Patriots. If Joe Burrow does play, which I think he will, I'm not trusting this Patriots team. I've seen them play, not enough to maybe, be as confident as I am, but I'm feeling pretty good that if Joe Burrow plays, this entire team will rally around him. Give me the Bengals to pull off the upset here against the Patriots. Give me a score of 31-27. I think the Bengals come to play here.
Man, you are speaking my language, Sam. I might have to put on my Andy Dalton jersey on Sunday. Hopefully things go well for Cincinnati. Will things go well for Cincinnati, Zay? Can they pull off the upset against the Patriots?
Joe Burrow has not beat the Patriots since 2022. He's only played them twice, and he cooked them in his first game in 2022, and then he got cooked in 2024. I think, me, last year I was running with the whole, it's only a matter of time before the Bengals go on this run, and sure enough, they did it. I think that we're in that situation again where whether they make a run or not for the playoffs, I'm not sitting here advocating for them for the playoffs. That's delusional. But what I will say is that Joe Burrow is a guy who likes to prove people wrong. And I think that this is a stretch of football where, one, they're very, very good teams that he could prove a lot about. And two, the other point that I made earlier in the show is that the man is a menace at the back half of the season. So I think if Joe Burrow plays, they're going to be primed. I don't care about the Jamar Chase not being there. They still have another $100 million man there, and they still have some weapons, and Joe Burrow is going to be back. So I think if they have any hope, any glimmer of hope, you need to win this one versus the Patriots. And I would say that primetime game would probably be more important than that one after Baltimore, because that would make that playoff percentage at least a little realistic. So I'm going to go Bengals in this one, but I do think it will be close. I do think Mike Vrabel will give it his best shot. Let's go 24-20 Bengals.
My God, Zim, are you as shocked as I am right now? We're 2 for 2 on the Bengals. Mark, are you going to make it a hat trick here for the upset?
Is this the fucking AFC North Roundtable, or we're on a different show? Like two Bengals in a row? I think the Bengals lose this game. I don't think they have no Jamar Chase, and if Joe Burrow comes back, fine, they can score 38 points, but the Patriots will score 40. The Patriots are a really good team right now. They're 9-2. The Henderson at running back is doing great. Drake May, Stephon Diggs. I just think they're going to carve up the Bengals defense. They haven't shown us really recently. Yeah, the Steelers put on 20 points, but at the same time, they only had 2 drives and a half, and we had 2 big turnovers of 14 points. The Bengals defense allows points. They allow 30 points something per game. So this one to me is Henderson, run the rock. It's May linking up with the receivers. Now Joe Burrow is going to try. He's a very talented, elite quarterback out there. But I think his defense holds him back, and you just can't have the Joe Burrow show all the time to win 42-41. I've got the Patriots winning let's go, 38-34, something weird like that. And they're just, one score away. But Jamar Chase being out is absolutely huge for the Bengals. I think the season's done now, but this would put like the cherry on top for them to be done. 3-8, you can't come back.
Zim, Mark, a non-believer. Sam and Zay, a believer in Cincy on Sunday. Are you a believer in the Bengals able to give the Patriots their third loss of the season?
Am I a believer that it could happen? Sure. Is it going to happen this Sunday? It is not. This concept, though, I do keep on hearing people talk about no Jamar Chase. Like the Bengals haven't done that many times. Like I always get blown away by that argument. Because when Jamar Chase missed all those games and he had a hip injury, I thought Burrow looked probably the best I've ever seen him. So, like, every time I always hear that, I'll be like, y'all got to go back to 2022. And Zay was talking about the last time we did play the Patriots. Fun fact, T. Higgins did go for like 140 in that game and went crazy. Mixon had an average game. But with all that being said, I think Mike Vrabel is going to have them dudes up front ready to knock the snot out of this weak-ass defense. Like, this defense is, even at their best last week, I don't feel like they lost them the game, but they damn sure ain't going to help you win it. Joe Burrow is 100% a big difference maker, but him coming off an injury, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I believe in Joe Burrow like you wouldn't believe. I just think that that's the wrong matchup. It's the wrong one at the wrong time. I wish he was coming back against like the Jets or somebody like that. Like, this is just, I think it's the timing of it along with Jamar Chase. And more importantly, no one is talking about this. No Trey Hendrickson. I watched Will Campbell get cooked up. I forgot, was that Myles Garrett that gave him work? Like, it's been like 4 or 5 weeks ago now. So somebody gave him like a couple sacks.
Something light.
Yeah, like something light, right? But Trey Hendrickson is so important to the Bengals, and him not playing is very, very – I think that is more important than Joe Burrow not playing for Flacco in the same matchup. What he does to speed up quarterbacks' clocks is very different than a lot of other edge rushers, because nine times out of 10, he's not even looking to go and get him. He'll take a crazy wide path, but he gets to the quarterback so fast that he disrupts plays. Him not playing in the last 3-4 weeks of football – like that is our defense, and that to me is a bigger impact than Burrow playing in this game.
Let's transition to the Tyrod Taylor revenge game. Justin Fields out, Tyrod Taylor in, and they take the Jets show on the road to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. 4-game win streak, looking to make it 5 and get above 500 for the first time this season. The Jets 2-8. We had some upset predictions in the previous game. Will we have some predictions in this game for the New York Jets, which would be a pretty big upset going into Baltimore and getting it done? Zay, do they have a chance? Can the Jets go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens?
Not a freaking chance in snowball hell. You got to be kidding me. This script is laying out so freaking well for the Ravens. It's absolutely disgusting. Doesn't matter how they get their wins. I just look over at the win column and I see win, and I see a list of games behind it that's just like, why can't they win out? You know what I mean? So this is another. It feels like every time Lamar Jackson has some type of setback, he gets the perfect game or the perfect situation for him. I mean, ankle injury versus a team like the Jets who lost all their best players on defense. Obviously, that didn't matter for the Cleveland Browns, but they're not the Cleveland Browns. So I got the Ravens putting in an absurd amount of work in versus the Jets. Let's go 30-10 Ravens.
Beatdown, says Zay. What say you, Mark? Can the Jets get it done against Baltimore, or are you thinking what Zay's thinking?
This would have to be a massive, massive, massive upset. Like in my land, I don't know how you guys do your thing, but it's like $7 for the Jets. So $1 gets you $7 back, right, for the Jets to win. Tyrod Taylor has been around for like 15 years. I don't know why they're moving him from Justin Fields to him. I don't know if they are trying to tank. They're trying to put him in the best position to get the draft pick next year. The only way they probably win this is making Lamar Jackson force a fumble or, a pick or something like that from their defense. With who's that bloke there on the D line? It's the Will McDonald. He's really good, getting 7 sacks.
He didn't practice today, by the way.
Is he out? Is he not playing?
He didn't practice today. I'm not sure.
If he doesn't play, then shit. Then my whole argument's gone. But yeah, I don't know. The Jets D-line did some good things last few weeks. They've won a few recently, but at the same time, it's Ravens. It's you'd think the Ravens would take care of business, I guess, quite easily and do the Raven thing where, it's Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson running, getting yards. It's just him linking up with TDs, and they had 4 TDs the week before, whatever it was. It's kind of like that's at home too. Look, nobody can pick the Jets. There's no way you can pick the Jets. But
I'm doing it.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Jim, go ahead and do it. No, Mark, go ahead. What was your final score?
I just got Ravens. I don't know. They should win 41-17 or something.
Damn.
See, that's the part where I differ. All right, hold on.
You do this every week, Zim.
No. It's gonna be straight up. I'm gonna give you a straight shooter. I'm gonna tell you, the Jets defense outside of that, I remember the Browns game. I think they gave up like 20. But remember when they played like the Panthers? I think it was like 13-6. Like, I'm not saying that the Jets are going to win, but much like that Browns game last week, I think it's going to look like that again. Like, the Jets actually have competent defense, and I just think the game's going to be a lot closer than what people think. I got the Ravens winning, but it's going to be another nasty game, 21-17 or something. Well, I don't know about the Jets scoring 17, but like, I don't know, like something weird, like 19-10 or something like that. I think that the Jets, like, low key, I know they lost Quentin and Sauce, but they still been fighting. I don't know.
Sam, I got a question before you go into your prediction.
Okay.
Winning the games like you're seeing, and if Zim is correct, and another nasty win, does that do anything does that make you feel differently about the ultimate goal or the ultimate end spot for this Ravens team? Because if they're barely able to squeak out games versus the Browns and the Jets and whoever else on the rest of the game, like, what does that say about the team? Like, is there do you care that they're squeak out wins, or do you need to see something here at the end of the season that's like, okay, we're definitely in a good spot to make a real run? Because I don't know how, obviously it's always nice to win, but like, you're not winning these games to only make it to the first round of the playoffs or the second round of the playoffs. You want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I am very much enjoying the close wins because we don't beat the Browns this time last year with the way, those close games we lose. We lose against the Browns, we lose against the Bears, and all those games that we're winning, we're losing. Now, if we play a game like we did against the Browns, against the Jets, then I'm going to start having questions because I don't think that the Jets defense has the disruptors that the Browns do. Now, there could be a solid defense, but I think you need to disrupt this offensive line the way that not a lot of defenses can to really affect the outcome of the contest, in my opinion. Now, our running offense is still bad, and I think that Breece Hall is a good enough running back. If the Jets stay with the ground game, could cause problems. But I just think that it'll take a lot. It'll take a lot of things to go right for the Jets for them to win this game at home. The Ravens have been on a 3-game road streak these last 3 games. So they're back at home. I just don't see them losing this game. I think the Ravens win this one pretty decisively. Now, the Ravens are injured. They got a lot of injuries right now. Rashad Bateman's not practicing. Marlon Humphrey returned to practice. Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton's out with a shoulder. So there's a lot of big time injuries out there. I'm not sure how significant they are. John Harbaugh didn't let us know, so we know more Thursday and Friday. So that could sway the spread a little bit. But even with all those guys out, I don't think that the Ravens should, as long as Lamar Jackson plays, I think it should be a pretty decisive win here. I don't know about 41-17, but if all those guys come in, yes. But if there are a little bit of injuries out there, a couple of guys don't play because they want to get ready for the Thursday game. Remember, 2 games in 5 days for the Ravens. They have the Bengals on Thursday afterwards. So I still think the Ravens win pretty easily, 30-16.
All right, Sam's got the Ravens rolling. Red Hood coming in with a chat saying, Zim, you better give Joe Burrow the same energy you gave Lamar when he was injured. If he doesn't play the Ravens, #Spitgate. What are your thoughts on that?
That's crazy.
I feel like if Burrow can play, he's definitely going to play. So we don't have the same conversation. There is no, if I like, you know what I mean? Like, he don't operate like that. Like, I don't know. One of my biggest pet peeves in life is quitting. Like, I think we teach our kids, we teach all these different things. Do not quit. That does not change just because money is at stake. I just don't think there's any scenario that you'll ever see Burrow even hobbled. We've seen him with a calf injury. He should not have played. He played meaningful games. He played a bunch of games, and people brag about those games to this day. He played those games, and he shouldn't have played. He is not going to walk away if the coaching staff says, yeah, you're cleared, or doctors clear him. If they're 3-12, I promise you, he'll still play as long as he's cleared. I'm telling you.
Be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not he plays this week. It feels inevitable, though, if it's not this week. Maybe, like you mentioned, Sam, Thursday there, right? Thanksgiving.
It's a fast turnaround because the argument also is, why would you play him twice and you got another game 4 days away from that too? So, like, the coaching staff might be saying, like, cool, you want to play, Joe, but there's no way. Do you know that these guys sent me an email saying, do I want to see Little John for Thanksgiving? These guys over there at Ravens Stadium are planning a party. They really want to cook us. They're showing me all the acts that they're going to have and shit. I seen an email earlier today, and I'm like, damn, it's a party over there. It's not even Bengals ain't even showing up. It's just Lil John and the East Side Boys, I guess.
Low-key?
Let's move to the best game within the division this upcoming weekend. It's a low-key. I mean, listen, I don't think anybody had this one circled in terms of maybe being one of the better matchups in Week 12, but it looks like it's going to be that. It's the 6-4 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 7-3 Chicago Bears. I feel like the Bears don't feel like they're 7-3 yet. Here they are. They're right there. They're at the top of the AFC North or the NFC North, right? With the Detroit Lions kind of slipping a little bit. So big game for both these teams. The Steelers trying to have their stranglehold on the North here continue. The Bears, of course, looking to do the same on their side of things. So big game here. Sam, who takes it? Steelers or Bears, 1 p.m. on Sunday?
The Bears are favored, right, in this contest, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
They should be
it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago. I'm going to go ahead and say the Chicago Bears win this game. Just for full strength that I just want the Bears to win. I don't really have I think the Bears are one of those pretending teams, but more so maybe like more pretenders than the Patriots, but up there in that realm of I don't know if I trust the Colts. I don't know if I trust the Patriots. I don't know if I trust the Bears. I still think it's going to be the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens when it's all said and done, even though the Chiefs are still mathematically out of the playoffs right now. But I think the Bears win this game. I hope the Bears win this game. I liked what I saw from them on the offensive side, but if the Steelers play defense the way they did last week, then the Steelers will obviously win this game. It'll be interesting to see if Aaron Rodgers plays. That's another question mark here. But I like Caleb Williams. I like this offense. I think the Steelers struggle stopping the run in some aspects, and I think the Bears probably take advantage of that. It's at home. I hope the Bears win, so I'm going to pick the Bears to win.
Bears, says Sam. Zay, what say you? Bears, Steelers.
I don't know if you guys didn't see the clip of Ben Johnson after the win, walking into the locker room like a freaking just what was the Terminator robot on Judgment Day? You know that scene where he's in the parking lot and he's chasing him down, and before he gets into the elevator, he looked like he was on a man that was possessed after a win. So, like, I know you said it feels like they're a little bit of pretenders. I think this is a game where you can kind of show people like, nah, we for real. So that, along with the whole fact that I know that my clock set to 12, but this is right around the time when those Pittsburgh Steelers start to go right down the shitter. So give me the goddamn Bears at home.
The Bears.
23-13.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. Zim, you joining the crew here on the Bears train, or is Pittsburgh taking it?
This is a tough game. I always joke that nobody watches Steelers football outside of Steelers fans because I don't know. I just feel like they're an old school team or something like that from a marketability standpoint. But this one is very intriguing. Low key, I never talk about him, but I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I think that he just plays backyard football. He runs around, does like weird stuff, and he actually does it. I don't think he's running the Ben Johnson offense the way that he sees fit. The other thing I will say about the Bears too is they're a little fraudulent too. When you go look at all the wins that they won, I guess recently, like the last 5, including the Bengals game, right? They're beating up on teams that aren't really that good, and then the wins never really look that impressive. I think if it's a close game, they win. I do think that they definitely, when I say the Steelers 1,000% need Aaron Rodgers in this game. The reason why I'm saying that is because the Bears, next to the Bengals, have the worst pass rush in all of football. The guy that they spent their money on, his name escapes me. I think it's a Bengo or something like that. I'm so sorry I'm mispronouncing that name. But bro is now on injured reserve. They have no pass rush whatsoever. You'll get more blitzes and more pressures from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson than anybody on their front seven. Why is that like important? I don't think that Mason Rudolph getting pressure is really like how you would cook him. To me, it's disguising coverages because he's just going to take the simple dump off stuff anyway. So Aaron Rodgers, to me, is the guy that will be able to process through all of that. So I'm very intrigued on, is he playing? Am I hedging if I say if Aaron Rodgers plays, I think they win? If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, I think they lose.
That's solid.
So what do you think? What you got to lock in a score? Give me a score. What
okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go 23-17 Bears.
All right. Man, oh man, Mark, not a whole lot of faith in the Steelers. I know you got some faith, though. Big game here, Mark, for your Steelers. What are you thinking?
They had more faith in the fucking Bengals who are 3-7 than my team in the division. I cannot figure out this show at all. Given all this praise for Joe Burrow coming back, hasn't played a fucking lick of football. Anyways,
because he's really fucking good.
That's fine, mate. It's all good. Okay, so with this game here, it comes down to Caleb Williams having a really good, second year in the league. If we cannot stop the run in terms of him breaking out of the pocket, that to me is going to be the down for us too. So Steelers have played, running quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, these kind of guys before, but if they let him out of the pocket, run around crazy, get 10 yards, first downs, that's going to chip away at us. If they can't stop the run, the Steelers defense needs to back it up like they did against the Bengals and get turnovers. We are very reliant on turnovers too. So if the Bears aren't turning the football over, giving us another chance, and what's going to happen? Is Aaron Rodgers going to turn up with his broken left wrist and also play? Or do they put all the cards in Mason Rudolph's hands and say, okay, just go and game manage and win us a football game as best you can? We don't know yet. We don't know if it's going to be Rodgers, Mason Rudolph. Jalen Warren's looks to be out as well. He hurt his ankle in the other game. So I think if they're going to win this one, I would prefer for Rodgers to be there. Obviously, he's won them. It's been years and years and years, almost 42. But I would prefer him at quarterback if he's healthy. If he's not healthy, play Rudolph. So this is going to be one of the big things where Mike Tomlin, if he does whichever way he goes, he's going to get scrutinized for it. But the Steelers can definitely win this game if they run the rock. But they need to run game well. They need to get Johnson carries too. He's only got 20-something this season. He's slowly getting better in that role. But the Steelers, if they get their run game taken away, or we cannot link up, if Rudolph has a bad game and it's he's not finding his targets and we don't have that receiver number 2, or him and DK Metcalf's getting taken out of the game, it's going to be very tough. And the Bears can definitely take care of business inside Bear Down Stadium. So I'm going to go with a close one. I think it's going to be something really weird too. I'm going to say 23 Steelers win with a field goal, 23-21, just over the Bears. So I think we sneak away just with a win because this is tough. It's not easy going into their stadium. The Steelers have proven they haven't backed up week to week. They need to do that right now. Otherwise, we're on the roller coaster up and down. Sam wants us to lose so bad.
I do.
So bad, because if he wins and it's even, then we have a few games coming up, and it's going to be the 2 race. And I just think overall, the Steelers right now and our fan base, we can see some good signs. Like James Pierre came out of nowhere. Slay's coming back. Some fans don't want Slay back because he's an older cornerback, and James Pierre's playing better, but he also plays quarterback and the gunner as well. So we see some good signs. Can they get ready for this game and fucking hit someone and play back-to-back wins? That's what I would love to see. Most Steelers fans want to see back-to-back wins and get ready for the big games, Buffalo and fucking Ravens, very, very soon.
That's right, baby. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, a week from Sunday. We'll be previewing that one next week. Can't wait. All right, not in the 1 p.m. window, as Zay reminded me, because as you know, I'm crafting up my backhanded comments for Zay, and nothing better than putting the Browns in the 1 p.m. window. But we're watching them in the 4 p.m. window this upcoming weekend. And not only are we watching the Browns, we're watching Shadur Sanders' first ever NFL start. It's the 2-8 Cleveland Browns on the road, taking on the 2-8 Las Vegas Raiders. And look, Shedeur Sanders, he's got a decent setup here for his first NFL start. It's in a dome. It's against one of the poorer teams in the NFL. The defense isn't particularly great, so it's set up for success. And it's also in that late window where more people get to watch him. So we'll be watching, Sam. What will we see in this matchup? Browns Raiders.
Yeah, I was, I hope that the Steelers lose, but I don't, necessarily believe they'll lose. And, I think that Burrow can come back and do something, but I don't necessarily know that Burrow's going to come back and do something. I know the Browns are going to beat the Raiders. The Raiders are awful. That defense, that Browns defense is significantly better than any defense I've seen the Ravens play this season. I think that, Shedeur Sanders may struggle a little bit, but I think that the notion that, Max Crosby is going to be the one to get him uncomfortable, I don't think that's really going to be the case. The Browns can really shift coverage, shift protection to Max Crosby and affect him in a way that gives Shedeur Sanders some time to actually do something on offense. I think the way to stop Shedeur Sanders and, what the Ravens did was to blitz him effectively, and I don't think the Raiders have that type of defense. I think that the Browns win this game, and I think they're winning pretty handily. I think I give them a 10-point win against the Raiders in Las Vegas. I think that the Browns are just a better football team. The Raiders are awful. If you guys have watched the Raiders, they're awful. I don't really have a case to vote for them to win. I hope the Browns lose because it'll further, help the division out for the Ravens. But I think the Browns got this in the bag. Give me you don't think so?
No, it's not going to help the division. You need
Browns. You need the Browns to win for the draft.
Yes.
Yeah,
you need them the boys with like a pick fit team. You don't need them top 5, bro.
I know, but they're going to win this game. I give the Browns, especially with all the people coming in to see the Shedeur play. Las Vegas is going to be full of Browns fans. Give me the Browns to win 20-10.
There you go.
Wow. Double-digit victory for Shedeur Sanders in his first start. Mark, how do you see this one going down in Vegas on Sunday?
Look, I'm going to be really quick with it. I'm just going to the stats, and then both offenses are really fucking shithouse. The Raiders are a bad team. That's true. So the points per game, Las Vegas Raiders are 15.5. They win. They have 15.5. So they're going to lose to the Cleveland Browns 16.2 to 15.5. That's my total take. It's going to be a fucking boring game. I'm sorry. Sanders out there. They're going to try and build this meter up there. Going to go crazy in Las Vegas. The first snap, you'll see him run around 3 or 4 times in circles, get sacked, and they'll do a punt for 4th and 14, and then it'll be a field goal battle for like 9-6, something like that. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I've got the Browns just winning 16-15.
Wow, the belief in the Browns may be at an all-time high. Zim, are you about to pop that balloon? Or are you going to keep inflating it? Is Shedeur Sanders getting a W in his first ever start?
I think so.
Wow.
No, the Raiders suck. The Raiders suck. And anybody that plays fantasy football, I told people when you draft a running back, you're also drafting their offensive line. That offensive line is trash. And the Browns are going to kill them. Like, bro, I think the score will be close. This is a hot take that I have. I think Shedeur could win this game and don't even throw for 100 yards. Like, all they got to do is run the ball, flip field position, and occasionally him scramble on third down and get some. He should, if he has to attempt more than 18 passes, then something has gone horribly wrong. Like, he doesn't need to attempt any of those passes. He should be throwing screens and then give him an option of throwing like an intermediate on first and second down, maybe like 4 or 5 times in the whole entire game. Anything beyond that is they're setting him up the field because bro gonna hold the football forever. He holds the football like he has no concept that there are other people on the other side of the field that are trying to kill him. And the only thing that they got to do is get the ball out of his hands and they can win this game.
Zay, I think this might be the first opportunity you've had to complete a full, clean sweep for predicting the Browns in 2025 on the AFC North. Tell me what time it is. Is it time to lock in the first sweep predicted for the Browns in 2025?
Man, you knew that. You already know what time it is. The alarms don't need to be set. We don't need a 12:01. We don't need a 12:05. We don't need 5 alarm clocks after the 12. When 12 hit, you better wake up and be ready because it's gonna be time. 100 yards. Zim, I love you. I love you, brother. You my dog. Kevin Stefanski, 18 pass attempts. Yeah, you might see that in the first quarter. We're talking about a guy who threw DTR to the Wolves versus the Baltimore Ravens in his very first NFL start and had that man throw the ball 47 times. Okay, so I don't know what stuff you smoking on, but I may need to come on down to Maryland or wherever you at, and we may need to have a session together because ain't no way in hell will Kevin Stefanski ever throw under 20 times a game, let alone 18. That's number one. But I think that this is going to be the ultimate test. You talk about certain players, putting their stamp or putting their mark down. LeBron came into the league. He was the chosen one. Joe Burrow came into the league. He was the greatest college quarterback to ever play the game. You think about all of these high caliber players that have, I'm not saying he's a high caliber player, but I'm talking about what he stamped on himself. He wants to be legendary. You don't become legendary by having everything go your way and everything not face any type of adversity. If you want to become legendary and you want to be the player that you have been boasting yourself up to be, this is your one and only opportunity to do that, because it's clear that there's a vendetta against Shedeur Sanders, whether it be through the Cleveland Browns, whether it be through the entire NFL as a whole. You are going to only get one real opportunity at this thing. And if you don't seize this moment, there's no chance of you being legendary. So if he wants to be what his brand is, he will rise to the occasion this week. So I think Shedeur Sanders is going to come out. The players have already felt it. They've already told you they felt it. The opposing team has already told you they felt what his impact is just by being inserted into the game. With him getting a full reps, with him knowing that he's going to be the starter and everything going this way, I think Shedeur Sanders will come out and perform, and I think these Cleveland Browns will come out with a victory in Vegas. Now, my problem comes with that 20 mark barrier, because every time we get to 16, 17 points, it just seems like everything starts to go south. So I'm very hesitant to say that we score over 20, but I think that this is the legendary person to do it. So give me the Browns. We're going to go 24 to 3.
There you have it, folks. Wow. All four panelists pick Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns to win on Sunday in Shedeur's first start. We can't wait to recap that game and all the games within the division. Same place you're at, same time next week right here on the AFC North Roundtable YouTube channel. But for tonight, that's going to do it for this one. For Sam, Zay, Mark, and Zim, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning into the AFC North Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next.
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, fourth and forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network, covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.